All right, here I am on a full-out sci-fi express lane with the lovely Nivea here, my wife. We're going to try to talk to y'all and express ourselves because I always got something on my chest. So this time, I wanted to talk about, how important it is to know who the writer is in something that you're reading, watching, or whatever, just enjoying, because some writers try to use pen names. Kind of, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about pen names?
I'm not sure that I have an opinion about it, but I don't mind. Like when I go and buy a book, I like to see who the author is, because I kind of think people write books based on a little bit their own experiences, even if they kind of exaggerate that or take something from it. So it's cool to know, to me, who the author is. I'm not sure why people use pen names. Why would they use them?
I think in nonfiction, they're telling somebody like a Rat Fink, or somebody, like the video vixen, instead of changing everybody else's name, if she wanted to put stuff out there and don't want to get in trouble for it, they do it FBI informants. But like the only time I thought about using a pen name, and I'm leaning away from it because I don't think it'll accomplish its goal, because I think I will get made out anyway, is my transgender serial killer story, The Boxed In, and I was kind of scared of doing that. But I was discussing with somebody on social media, and I had said, I think it's disingenuous, but I said maybe there's opportunities that I'm not aware of. So the more I talked to them, the stronger my opinion got, because I was like, man, I still think, I don't know any writer that is famous, successful for books that we don't know they wrote. I don't know how you promote a book without, who do you interview? You know what I'm saying? This book is fantabulous, but I think, some people, I guess, feel like, I met a Rob Thurman, I met her, and she uses a pen name, and she writes science fiction, and I think for her, it really was about breaking into a male-dominated sphere.
But I don't know that that's the case anymore.
Right.
Right now, when women kind of lead the pack, everything we want it to be as even as possible or as fair as possible. So I could understand it in the past because women were marginalized, but
right.
I don't think that that's the case anymore, unless it's more of a male-dominated type of field. And so then I can understand if a woman wanted to use a more, name that's kind of can be
gender
neutral
like
name,
just their initials, right, and stuff
so even,
like that.
Yeah, like that, just so they can maybe kind of get into the market. I'm not
sure. I wonder if N.K. Jemisin does that. The one that did the Jade Obelisk.
I don't know.
I don't know, because she gets. It doesn't accomplish its goal, because once you like the book or once you know the author, you're gonna know who it is.
I think it's fun to know about the author.
I think it adds something,
Because even when it's somebody that you don't expect, and the book is still like a great book, you may open yourself up to more readers, or more books, maybe like that particular author, which is nice, because then you're kind of expanding your world. So I think it's kind of nice. Especially when they have their bio and you get
they came from like what's the Charlene Harris that did True Blood? She's from down in that area, and it was kind of cool to know about her. Sometimes I think people feel that it would limit them, like they, I felt compelled in Welcome to Boss Ladies Planet to not mention their race. I was trying to do it where I didn't mention their race, but physical characteristics and characters are important too, just like they are in the writer, and that gives you perspective.
But sometimes, if let's say it's a book where they may make some
new species.
No, when they kind of hint at describing the character, but they don't necessarily name or say the race of the character. You can, and if you like the character, you can imagine the character as you, because it's kind of in some ways race neutral.
Right.
But if they are going to describe it, that's fine too. I mean, it's the author's story. People are either gonna like it or don't like it, and you got to do you. So I don't know. I don't know what advantages now there are to not putting your name out there, just because everything is so accessible through social media and everything. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I try to follow along with it, but I couldn't find any extra reasoning. I think, of course, there's so many people out here in social media. Somebody hit me up and be like, Jeff, you forgot about this, when you was talking about it. And I'm still open for it. I'm not closed, because, I mean, whatever floats your boat. But, I know people felt like telling who you were as an author could limit what you write. And for me, it doesn't limit what you write. Like, Black Panther, Luke Cage was both created by white people. One of my best movies was Gold Digger Killer, and I'm a man writing about a female lead character. I don't think that takes away from your ability to promote your work or tell your story.
No, it's your perspective. A lot of times women ask men for advice because they want to know what the man's point of view is, and I don't think it takes away from that. I
think what my concern was with that. It's not in here. Do I turn it in here? Okay. So it's not that I was worried about the limiting, because I certainly like women's take on men, men's take on women, and various racial takes on different races. However, I think it's important when we start talking about this a book or product speaks to how this race feels. And be like, if a white person wrote it, then they're not speaking for black people. If a man wrote it, he's not speaking for women. However, if a woman wrote a story with a female character, like Waiting to Exhale, it may speak to how other women feel. I think it speaks to that person's experience. That too.
That's what it speaks to. And then it may relate to other people. That's why sometimes it's so popular, right? Because there's certain characters that you connect with. Like, I don't like reading a book where I don't connect with any of the characters. They don't have to be like me, but they have to have characteristics that I think are cool, whether it's humor, whether it's whatever it is.
Perspective, how they would respond, some of the way they talk and stuff like that.
So then that connects me to the character, but they don't necessarily have to be, Dominican, African American, whatever you want to label me.
Right, and sometimes I like the female character. I might like the Asian character. It don't even have to be that I like the African American character. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I also think sometimes. No, the guy was backing up. Oh. Sometimes I think I'm concerned with how black characters are portrayed by white writers. I know I was real hard on Farnham's Freehold, which a lot of people are. Robert Heinlein, he got me. I loved Starship Troopers, but then he came back with, talking about how the black characters would treat white people in the post-apocalypse, and I think that's stoking fear, but it speaks to him as a white person writing something like that. I'm like, wow. And it speaks to him because I think a lot of white people may feel that way, so it's good to know. But if it was a black person writing it, you would be like, damn, are you out of your mind? You still say, are you out of your mind? Right. It's a white person that wrote it. But you'd be surprised. You'd be like, damn, a black person feels that that's what black people would do? What kind of Jason Whitlock, Candace Owens is this type of writer? And then I think of stories like Children of Men. And I'm like, damn, ain't nobody black write that. I wonder how that would be perceived if a black person wrote no more of white fertility, and the next person that can have a child is a black woman. If a black person wrote that, that would be wild. So, but I mean, writers do write about things that they research, so it's not a hard swing to
have that story be what it was. So
Well, anyway, let's wrap it up.
thank you.
We're here at the grocery store. My battery didn't run out. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and because I like to dialogue with people, please make some comments. There's not enough comments out here. And support the Kickstarter. What you call it? Planet of Keeble Line, Book 2. Deuces.